So we've been trying to be on air, but we thank God. I want to thank God that today it's becoming a reality. I want to thank God for our co-founder, Joker Nax. 4 or 5 years ago, somebody spoke to me about cryptocurrency. And as an accountant, a seasoned accountant, I wonder what was really this cryptocurrency. I actually had to go and do a study of it. And today, here we are. That person is Eddie. Where I say, I want to appreciate you, my mentor, my boss. So let's go straight to the point. Let's go straight to the point. Can you hook me, my system now to your... So Bitcoin now and the future. We'll be very brief. We'll look at a brief history of money, very briefly. We'll look at Bitcoin historical perspective. We'll look at Bitcoin in the now, the blockchain. I'll be looking at Bitcoin in the future. This is where our emphasis is. It's going to be, and I'll just do a conclusion. A brief history of money. A brief history of money. History tells us that transactions between human beings actually began by barter, cattle, grains, animal skin. Later, the introduction of cowries came up. Before you know, by the 7th century BC in Lydia, a Greek town, present-day Turkey, where we began to use coins. Coins came in. And around the 12th century, paper money was introduced, the fiat money was introduced in China. And by 1609, we had the first bank. So you see, it's a transition, the Bank of Amsterdam. Some guys came up just like that, and they started what we call the Bank of Amsterdam, which actually was owned by individuals, not the government. But later, the state of Amsterdam took over the Bank of Amsterdam in 1791, and that bank finally collapsed in 1819. This gave birth to the Bank of England in 1694, and of course, GBP became the order of the day as the powerful currency in the world. After the Second World, the First World War, Second World War in 1945, we saw the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, the World Bank actually came up, and before you know, American took over, and the USD gradually replaced GBP in the international market. And the World Federal Reserve of America became the key central bank in the world. Between 1933 and 1973, we saw commodities like gold backing up the USD. And by 1973, something happened, and the USD dollar was no longer backed up by gold. We just want to bring this historical perspective because we're going to see how it played out up to 2008 when the Bitcoin came into being by virtue of what we call digital currency. I'll look at 2010, there was world economic recession. And since 1933, scientists all over the world, cryptographers have been looking for how to remove sovereignty away from money, such that money will still possess that power as a legal entity. Now, this guy, 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto, born in 1975, an expert in digital currency, a computer scientist, and of course a cryptographer. He's said to be a pseudonym representing himself for a group. Came up with the white paper on Bitcoin in 2000, and that became the birth of what we call digital currency today. By 2009, the first block was established January 3rd, 2009. And by 2010, the first Bitcoin exchange site, the Bitcoin market, was established. By 2011, the world got a shock. 1 USD BTC equals 1 BTC. Prior to 2011, the Bitcoin was in cents. But from 2011, Bitcoin equaled $1. By 2012, the first Bitcoin halving day was observed, November 28th. It's a special day in the Bitcoin protocol, and what we have about 210 blocks mined in every 4 years with a reward system. By 2013, Bitcoin hit over 1 billion in the capital market, in the capitalized crypto market, $1 billion US. By 2013, the first university in the world, University of Nicosia, where I graduated from, became the first university to accept Bitcoin as tuition fee. By 2014, Bitcoin mining difficulty has exceeded 35 billion. I'm going to say something about that difficulty later. By 2017, Bitcoin had hit 20,000 USD, and that was significant in history. I want to look at Bitcoin in the now, the power of the blockchain, because the technology of Bitcoin is just a combination of two words, block and chain. It's a digital ledger in which transactions made in Bitcoin are recorded chronologically and is public among the nodes within the world, in the system, the network per time. The blockchain allows the consumer and the supplier to connect directly without a third party coming into it. By so doing, time is preserved. By so doing, extraordinary charges and remittances are wiped away. On the blockchain, ownership of Bitcoin is established through digital keys, Bitcoin addresses, and digital signatures. I'm going to talk later on that because that's one of the most significant aspects that have given the Bitcoin power today and making the future brighter and brighter and brighter. Only 21 Bitcoin will ever exist in the world is made up of about 7.5 billion persons. That 7.5 billion persons will go for that 21 million pieces of Bitcoin. It therefore means we have, as at 2017, when I was graduating from University of Nicosia, 17.5 Bitcoin has been mined. But as at this year, 17.9 Bitcoin has been mined. So if we have 21 million minus 17.9, it therefore means that we have only 3.1 Bitcoin left to be mined. The question now is, where are the 17.9 Bitcoin already mined? Yes, they are in the hands of those who can see tomorrow. And I believe by the fact that you are a member of the money group, you are among those privileged persons who can see tomorrow. Mind you, the last block will be mined in the year 2140. Now, I want to look at Bitcoin and the future. Of course, that's the main essence of this presentation. In our presentation slide, you see Bitcoin in comparison with local currency, Bitcoin in terms of fully transparent in transactions. One, there's a transaction in the block. There's a broadcast within the system. And every node around the world knows that a transaction has occurred, and that transaction can be traced. Of course, we talk about the issue of cross-country transfer period. You make it a transfer of 10,000 USD to America today. Your local bank will tell you 5, 6 working days, not weekends. Before you know what's happening, time is being spent. And if you have a child you have to pay tuition fee for, before you know, the school has already sent that child away. But with Bitcoin, transaction time is saved. You know, Bitcoin transfer cost, of course, if you have used MoneyGram or Western Union, you know what they are getting from Africa. You know, it is extraordinary. But with Bitcoin, of course, the charges are, you know, next to nothing. The issue of trust, we will lay emphasis on the issue of trust. Now, there are two aspects I want us to know about. Now, when we say the Bitcoin, there's what we call the cryptographic hash function that goes with cryptography. You know, that hash function ensures that it cannot be counterfeited. The Bitcoin cannot be counterfeited, and the transactions cannot be counterfeited. When you enter some supermarket, you see fake dollars pasted on the screen. When you see fake Naira posted on the screen, you can't do that. There's something like fake Bitcoin posted on the screen because of the cryptographic function, the power of it. We call it the hash 256, the MD160. These are special features, you know, culminated what we call elliptic curve digital signature algorithm. It cannot be counterfeited. And that is why today, gurus in the world, international businessmen, doing transactions, prefer to do transactions with Bitcoin. Now, I want to look at the issue of decentralization. In 1933, precisely, 1933, President Roosevelt, along with Congress, took 3 decisions. 1, the USD is not going to be backed by gold anymore. 2, gold was no longer accepted as a legal tendency for international settlement of debt. So, and thirdly, the fact that their reserve had dwindled due to the First World War, and they ensured that there's going to be a limitation on those persons that will possess gold coin and institutions that will possess gold coin. So that decision was single-handedly taken in America by President Roosevelt and the Congress, and it affected international businesses and international transactions all over the world. So since that 1933, scientists have been out to check what can remove sovereignty away from money, and money will still maintain the legal as a legal tender. So with cryptocurrency application functions and BTC transactions, as I said, cannot be counterfeited. From that moment, within cryptocurrency, discovered that you are now an international central banker, a universal central banker. By the fact that every currency is controlled by the government of the day and by the central bank of that state. But with the Bitcoin, you become your own central bank. You are your own central bank. So, as I said, you're a universal central banker. In Germany, you spend Deutschmark. In America, you spend dollar. In Ireland, you spend euro. Of course, in South Africa, you spend rands. In Italy, you spend lira, simply because you have Bitcoin. So we saw crisis in Syria, and we saw people losing their assets and their investments. We saw it again in South Africa. Our brothers are back, investments, scattered all over. But if they had known what's called digital asset management, digital asset accumulation, then you can move anywhere in the world with your Bitcoin or with your laptop and your smartphone and your internet facility, and life begins. So it's time that the world should know, and that's why I give kudos to the Money Group on this educational aspect of it, that if you don't have Bitcoin right now, I lay emphasis in the Abuja notes, between now and July, have a minimum of 2 Bitcoin, because the world is moving and the world will not wait for you. Now, we'll look quickly at operations within the Bitcoin protocol. A block is established in every 10 to 15 minutes. And between 2008 and 2012, what we call the halving section in every 4 years. Now, before I come to that, 2016 blocks is established in every 2 weeks. Now, the halving and its consequences, as I said, in every 4 years, 210,000 blocks is mined. And there's an economic reward attached to a block. Between 2008 and 2012, 50 Bitcoin per block. So from 2012, when the first halving took place, then there's a reduction in halving of the system to produce 25 Bitcoin per block. So between 2012 and 2016, there's another halving in 2016. So right now, what you have is 12.5 Bitcoin per block. Now, the next halving is taking place in 2020 that will reduce the economic reward of a block to 6.25. Now, what are the consequences of this? The consequences of this is this. As time goes on, every 4 years, economic reward begin to reduce. Already, as of today, we have 17.9 Bitcoin already mined. We have only 3.1 left. For instance, we had about 1,000 miners in 2008. There's an auto-adjusted difficulty level every 2 weeks that keep miners away, that separate the boys from the men. And the consequence is this. The consequence is that supply will continue to decrease, demand will continue to increase, and the value of the Bitcoin will continue to move, will continue to skyrocket. After the first halving in 2012, Bitcoin never came back to $1 anymore. After the second halving in 2016, which is going to end in 2020, Bitcoin came down, but never got to $1,000 anymore. By 2020, when the next halving will take place, you may never see Bitcoin. You will never see Bitcoin in 10,000 USD anymore. So between 2020 and 2024, between 2024 and 2028, we're talking about just 8-9 years from now. I want to let you know one Bitcoin is going to be $1 million US. The reason is why. The reasons are these. As I draw my conclusion, the Industrial Revolution came and wiped away the Stone Ages. The Computer Revolution gave a new face to Industrial Revolution. The Internet Revolution brought something new entirely. Then we are now in the Digital Revolution. There's one thing peculiar in history. Every generation faces a technology paradigm. It's going to be we are at an advantage. Why? Wall Street, Silicon Valley venture capitalists, Silicon venture capitalists are already funding blockchain in pharmaceuticals, in agriculture, and in other ventures. Guess what? They will fall back on cryptocurrency. And the common denominator there is the Bitcoin. Financial reports all over the world is showing that major banks in the world are already spending up to $75 million US to finance blockchain. And therefore, they are going to key into cryptocurrency. They are going to key for the banks. Of course, their major project is going to be backed up by repos for smart contracts, fast contracts by Ethereum. But there's a common denominator, which is the Bitcoin. Those who funded major projects in the world, those who name them: Facebook, Virgin Group, American Online, PayPal. We're talking about people like the Bill Gates and others have major investment in Bitcoin. Who are you to relegate Bitcoin? And I made a presentation on the Central Bank of Nigeria in 2017, and I told them we can wipe out poverty in 8 years. Not what they are doing. But I thank God today we have a system called the digital farming. And that's what the government of Nigeria needs. And guess what? We are most privileged to teach them. And so we are going to be their consultant, and they must pay us in dollars and they must pay us in Bitcoin. When you check what is happening right now in the world, major organizations, merchants, in their thousands are accepting Bitcoin. Large organizations like Dell, Overstock, even Microsoft, Time Magazine, Expedia, Greenpeace. See, let me shock you. Even the Red Cross, crisis management organization. Because in areas where there are crises, banking and banking activity becomes difficult. So, on Bitcoin, we are headed to a situation where Wall Street will help to drive the Bitcoin mainstreams. Then you will see a change in media skepticism to media favoritism. I want you to know, and I want every man to write for us. Those who criticized the system in 2008, they are regretting. Those who criticized the system in 2004 to 2014, they are regretting. We are in a privileged situation right now because in our very eyes, we will see Bitcoin $1 million US in the very near future. I want us to know that the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So to be a member of the Money Group is a privilege to have this information, because the old ones will tell their children when they see this video or when they hear this video, we never had anybody to tell us this. That was why we didn't take opportunity of this. So as a member of the Money Group, we are privileged to know about this. that the future to dominate the financial world tomorrow is in Bitcoin, and we have this privilege right on our laps. I want to close by just saying this. Tomorrow, yes, today was the tomorrow we've always dreamt about. So the tomorrow we are looking for has already started today. I want to close and say a very big thank you for the privilege. I'm looking at my time, so for the privilege to just do this little presentation. And time will permit us to look into mining, time will permit us to look into blockchain and what happens within any block. But the truth is this: we in the Money Group, we are privileged to have this knowledge. And guess what? Some persons in America don't even know what's called cryptocurrency, even in Europe. So we are going to be their consultant, and they will pay us heavily for this. I want to say a very big thank you. And I believe tomorrow is going to be great for every one of us. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. And for those who watch this video or who are hearing about Bitcoin for the first time, I strongly believe that this is more than a lecture. This is actually the future. This is more than gold. This is actually a future. So please, knowing what to do is not enough. You've got to find the guts to do it. So I say welcome to Bitcoin and welcome to the future, and of course, the opportunity in cryptocurrency. Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. We'll come back to you shortly. Thank you.